Welcome to our today's ITC webinar about living the dream and the business of diving. So you are all in some way or the other on your way to become a scuba diving instructor, and we want to talk a little bit about what this actually means. What are your plans with being an instructor, and what does it need to do a job that you want to do for a longer time of your life, and not only for the next few months. So the first thing I would like to get into a little bit of a discussion, or want to share some ideas with you. What are your ideas about why you want to become a diving instructor? So what's the most important for you? Do you want to do it as a real job for the next future? Are you planning to do it like a side hustle just because you like to do that? Is it like a really professional option, or more like getting better in your own skills? What's your motivation to become an instructor, actually? Whoever wants to answer, you're absolutely welcome to just open your microphone and talk.
Well,
and I know Simon can talk the next 10 minutes about it, but
it's
yeah.
already on the sheet. It's the thing that I love diving, and I love to share this, what I'm burning for, and I love teaching. So it is sharing my passion, it's motivation, and well, on the other hand, maybe diving without paying, but that's the main motivation. It won't be an option for me to change my regular job. And since I'm very old, I do not want to develop and change my life. So it's just sharing your dream.
Thank you.
Yeah, you also. Oh, sorry, Simon.
Sorry, carry on. I'll wait.
Okay. For me also, it's the motivation to sharing my passion and dive with people I like and build a really community around me, to have divers around me who I can trust. I know the instruction was good for them, and to dive in the same way I would like to dive.
So you're doing it as your main job, actually, right?
No, only a side job.
It's a side job, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, I mean, like Michael and Nick both said, it's about sharing the love for the underwater. Also, I enjoy teaching, but I also think that teaching makes you get better as well. So it's about becoming a better diver, and maybe also job opportunities. So right now I do work, but I want to get out of the concrete cage and away from staring at desks too much. So a side job or main job, I don't know. Basically everything that's on that picture is all part of it.
Okay, so this sounds like a lot of passion, and I think this is what is the initial motivation for most people who want to do the instructor course. Is exactly that you fall in love with diving. You love to do this so very much. You want to share this with others, and this is actually a great thing to do. But we will now have a little bit of a closer look on what does it mean when we do it as a really professional career, or if we maintain it as on like as a hobby, probably a little bit of side job. What does it mean to really work full time in a dive center? That's like really, because this job is a little bit different on what it looks like from the outside. And I will give you some quite honest insights on the downsides of the industry and the downsides of the job, because I think we all should be prepared and like know what's waiting for us. But we will then as well turn back to how to create your place in the business and how to create your profile as an instructor, that you can do it with joy and that it is something that you really want to do, and that's even possible to make a real full-time job and make a career out of this. Okay. This presentation, I did prepare it way more than Dominic, because this is way more my subject. But Dominic, whenever you want to just get in and explain something or add something, you're absolutely welcome to just jump in. Yeah. Probably this is the very good question that actually came in from Dominic in some moment. I remember that, because this very first question, when we are talking about is what we are doing a hobby or is it a profession, most of us are not only working because it makes us happy. We usually do it because we need money. So we want to pay our rent, we want to pay our bills. That's easy like that. So that's why we do jobs, whatever jobs we do. No one actually loves to sit at a computer the whole day and move around numbers. It's like there is no passion behind this for the very big majority of people, but a lot of people do exactly this the whole day. Or no job that anyone does is completely fulfilling and nice and beautiful the whole time you have to do it. They all have upsides and downsides. So let's imagine for a moment that we had a basic income, an unconditional basic income for everyone. So you could definitely pay your rent, have food, and have like a kind of a decent life. And now you can choose. Would you still work the job you're actually doing, or would you quit and not do it anymore? So probably you can write in the chat, like those who are not actively working full-time in diving, would you still do it? Or would you like at least stop doing parts of it? Or would you say, yeah, you know, I'm so happy in my job, I am happy to continue and to still do it? I see like some mixed feelings in the chat. Like, yeah, okay, of course I would still do it, but no, sometimes there are things that, oh no, yeah. So some love what they're doing, and that's perfect. Reduce the commitment, yes. So that's something I can fully understand. And now we have, I'm the only one here as far as I can see who does actually work full-time in diving. I would absolutely continue to do my job, and having a basic income would actually make this easier and would make me even more available to do it. Honestly, I would still not want to do it, but it comes down to the same, like everyone has. I would still come down to, yeah, let's reduce the commitment a little bit, because I would not work 6 hours a week for 11 months a year, 6 days a week and 12 hours a day in diving. I would not actually want to do this anymore. I do it temporarily now, but not the whole year round anymore for a long time now, because no, too old for this. So in diving, we have a little bit of a critical situation, or a different situation. Most diving instructors do not do this full time. We do it like because we like it, and we try to find some ways to do it for some years, like people who are young, who just finished school, who take a break from university because they need to rethink what they actually want to do. There's some moments where people tend to escape and spend some years in diving, but without the plan of doing this for the rest of their life every single day. So we have a lot of people who do it part-time, who have a normal job, but like from time to time they go for a month on holidays and help out in a dive center, just what Simon did last December. What Arne does from time to time when he shows up here, it's like, oh, okay, now we need an extra guide. Can you just please? We really appreciate this kind of people. And it keeps kind of the business fresh. So in diving, to be a professional does not necessarily mean that you do it as a full-time job. You're still, even if you do it like as a side job, you are absolutely expected to have a full professional behavior in what you're doing. So being a professional does not mean you're occupied in this, but you have a status of doing a professional job independent on your work contract or how exactly you organize this. Most people, yeah, we've been through this already. For most people, it's just like a temporary thing. And let's have a look here, because you know, I do love to back up what I'm talking about with some statistics. And I find one. Scubanomics is, by the way, a site that's well worth checking, because they have some really interesting articles, and they do collect information about the business of diving and how it's paid, where money comes, where money goes, and what happens in there. So they did one big survey with quite a lot of instructors answering, and in between these people who answered their survey, there was a relatively big percentage of people who stayed active for 5 to 9 and 10 years and more. Basically, most of them for 10 years and more. But the question here was not about being a full-time instructor. The question here was about the active status in your agency. That means when you do your instructor course and you become a member of SSI or another agency as a dive professional, you are an active status, and as long as you pay your annual fees, you are still an active status. So a lot of people keep on paying these fees just as they do in any membership, without really actively teaching so much. This is a little bit why these numbers are there, they exist, but they lack a little bit of credibility. What's quite interesting here is that nearly 8% already drop out in 1 year and less, which means they do the instructor course, but then they are absolutely not active. And like from my anecdotal knowledge, I would say this percentage is way bigger, or people who do probably do the course, work for a year or two, but most of them are out after 2 or 3 years and see it more as something they do for a while, and then they continue to do other things in their life, or they find a way to do it for a very long time, but not as a full-time job. People staying in the industry full-time for more than 2 or 3 years are rare. And I can definitely say this like from experience and people I know and what I have been observing in the next years. This statistics is only instructors. There are no statistics for dive masters. Why? Because most dive, we come back to this later, but most dive masters are not seriously employed, and it's like it's a industry-wide issue, and they are not the people who answer questionnaires when they actually are. So yeah, why is this, and why is this job so much harder than most of us initially think? let's talk about three things, like what else comes with a job, what we don't see, because it's not like, oh, I go to the water on a nice sunny day and share my passion, and then someone is so happy that we had a nice day together. Yeah, that is a big part and an important part of the job as well. But before we do that, and around that, there is a lot of dirty, exhausting, not so nice work to do, which is just part of the work. Then we talk about emotional work in it. What do we do when we constantly sell? We sell feelings. We sell like certain things that others enjoy. It's a very specific kind of work. And a little bit about the different forms of collateral damage that this job does to us. So let's see. Whenever I wear a white shirt in the morning, SSI in some moment, Maris did send out white t-shirts to their dive centers. And I could not have laughed louder, but because what do you imagine will happen when I put on a white shirt? I just get close to the dive center and there will be the first oil stains on it, either from the car or from the compressor. I don't know, but it's always oily, greasy, and dirty. There's always something else to do than only going diving. So what do? We load the cars, we unload the cars, we clean the dive center, we fill the tanks, we change the compressor filter, we change the compressor oil, we change the oil of the cars from time to time, or at least check it. Well, we have a lot of equipment to wash. We end up completely soaked and wet. We have to bring this equipment back to use. So it is absolutely nothing automatic behind the scenes. There's a lot to do. But on a global level, we live in a world where just in certain parts of the world, these parts of the job are done by the actual instructors working in a place. And in other parts of the world, these parts of the jobs are done by some people who are simply employed for this part of the job. Like I've been to Bali recently, and there you have, at every dive site, you have people who stand around there and just they are just there to carry your gear around and carry your gear to the water. That's like, wow, I was a little bit surprised, because for sure, in our center on Canary Islands, we will never offer this service unless you are absolutely not able to carry your own equipment and really need that help. Then we will do it. But then I am the one as well who carries your tank down, and not some carrier, but no, some instructor who is in this moment the person who is most able to do that for you. So we are in a business where we very, very directly deal with global inequality, and we are in a world of minimum wages. So welcome to this world, because this plays an absolutely fundamental role for how your job is defined in the industry as an instructor, and how much workers you have around you, and how much better you are off than others in certain parts of the world, and in other parts not at all. So, you know, prices for diving excursions do not vary very much in the world. So you pay more or less the same for a dive in Egypt or in Europe, or in Philippines or in Bali. There's the variation is not so big. There are some places that are excessively more expensive, but there's like a global average that does not vary too much. But this average, customers pay for in places where the dive center have different costs for the people working for them. And here's, as a diving instructor, we are in a job that's normally paid somewhere around minimum wage when we are in Europe. So you can expect something around a minimum wage, which should be a more or less livable wage, but is in fact not always. I just checked some actual minimum wages around the world for you, which is pretty high in Germany, which is not so high, but something livable in Spain, and which really goes down in Thailand, Mexico, Philippines, and places where there's a lot of diving done. So what happens here? This defines your job, because it means when you work as an instructor in a place with a high minimum wage, you will be expected to do the whole thing. So there is no one else. No dive center can afford to pay someone else a minimum wage just to fill the tanks. It just, we don't make this money. We cannot do that. So we need our instructors to do like everything. It's a way harder job than in other parts of the world, where you can just employ 2 or 3 instructors, and then you employ like 5 dive masters and people for filling tanks and cleaning and carrying equipment, and 1 for the office, because you can pay like 4 people or 5 people or 6 people or 7 with the salary that 1 European instructor wants. In these places, European instructors usually still make more or less an equivalent to a Spanish minimum wage, let's say something like this. The difference is that when you work in a place where the minimum wage is like 150 euro, and you make more than 1,000 a month, you make so much more money than your co-workers, that you have 2 different classes in the same dive center. You have the rich Europeans, US Americans, who come there to work usually only as instructors, and who will not do the dirt work, let's say. And you have this class of local guides and local helpers who are happy about the job, who are especially happy if they work in a place where there's tips included, because this can just easily double their salary or even more. And that makes really a big change in between a minimum wage. You can't live from 150 euros in Mexico. Absolutely impossible. You do not survive. Yeah. But when this is doubled with tips, all of a sudden you have some money and you can kind of live there. So we do profit. All of us who are sitting here, we are all global north. So we all profit from this situation. While when we're working in a dive center in Spain, we suffer a tiny little bit. Like suffering is like a too big word for this. But we have the disadvantage that our direct competitors are countries with a very low minimum wage, where for sure you can offer your clients a completely different service because it's cheap enough. And sometimes we actually have clients who are a little bit who are missing the service in our place, that we can only explain by, yeah, we do not have enough people to do that, and you would not like to pay for the dive what you would have to pay if you had the same service that you can get in other places of the world. Here is the reason for that. That's important for me to keep in mind. Now, this is not only about wages. I did say already that we talk about who does which part of the work. And now, for sure, when you are the one in the dive center who makes so much more than your co-workers, because you are the European instructor, you're directly in a higher position, but in a place where you're a stranger. So you did immigrate there, you did come there. You have to take care for how to get a work permit, for how to get a visa, for how to not be completely illegal. But even if you're illegal, you know, the worst that can happen to you is that they deport you back home, which for you is not life-threatening. So it's just, let's say, inconvenience. You're not in such a big danger. So you directly profit in the moment where you take a job in a country with this kind of inequalities. You directly profit from global inequality and you directly profit from racism. Exactly like this. I did work in Kenya for a while, and it was so incredibly obvious there because it was like me and another English white instructor and the white dive center owners, and then 6 people crew, male. I did not touch a tank in this time. I mean, I did insist in carrying my own gear to the boat because I just can't, I can't not do it. Oh no, I did not fill tanks. I did not carry tanks to the compressor. Nothing. I did not clean anything, just nothing. I had a very, very, very easy job. And for sure, I did make enough money to go out and eat from time to time in the white places. It's not only that there was a separation, it was like the segregation was so real and so hard that it took me some time to understand it. And once I did understand, it turned out to be like really not acceptable for me. I don't want to, and I cannot live like this. I mean, like the moment when I brought food for everyone because it was my birthday, and the whole crew was happy and shared their food with me, and the bosses and this young other instructor, a white, dumb 22-old baby with no idea about the world and everything, not speaking any other language than English, they refused to come and sit down with us and eat together with us. And I just understood later that this was not because they do not sit together with people and eat. It was because they do not sit together with Black people and eat. And yeah, honestly, these are things that you come around when you travel the world in diving. And it makes sense to make up your mind before about how you want to deal with this, how you want to live with the inequality that is there and that you will not change in this moment, and how far you are willing to go and where are your limits. What are you willing to accept, and where do you step out and will not accept this anymore? And then a very, very, very important part, which is valid all over the world, completely independent on where you work. But something that makes our job so special is that we sell something. We sell something that is our own passion. You all told me in the beginning that you want to do this because you love diving and you love to share this with others. And that's an important drive. And that's very, very, very important for any instructor. That is exactly what makes us moving and what makes us really good, because we care about what we're doing. That's perfect. But we sell something that is a little bit more than only I do provide a service somehow. Every service work has this part. So we what do we actually do when we sell our diving experiences? I mean, we have some very clear things, clear responsibilities, which are, for example, we do care for safety. We make sure that whatever we offer is done in a safe way, that people will not get hurt, that we do whatever we can to avoid any problems, and that if anything happens, that we are able to solve it and to sort it out and to get out of the situation. Then there's very much more than that. I mean, you can be a great instructor and you can be a great diver, but when you come out of the water and say, oh yeah, that was more or less okay, you will not make it for a long time in the industry, because for sure you're an entertainer. Like in between dives, after dives, before dives, people want to talk to you, want to hear something more from you, and not only the very strict briefing about the dive. You're selling something more. You're selling an experience, and a nice, enjoyable, entertaining day. yeah, and then we have to sell a lot. You will see more about this because a big part of the instructor course is actually about sales. Yeah, not everyone really wants to do this, but yeah, it's part of it, and it's as well an important part of it. So, what does this business with the emotions mean? You know, we live in a society where alienation from what you produce or what you actually do is very common. It's like a basic, it's the fundament of capitalist society. But something is different when it gets to commercializing something that used to be something very personal or something intimate or something that was there for giving you joy and pleasure and excitement and something like really nice, because it can make you lose the connection with the thing that you're selling, because it transforms into a product. And you now commercialize it, you give it rules, you transform it into something that you can sell and offer to others, and that you standardize, and yet that you always do in a certain way to ensure quality, and you industrialize this thing, which is not necessarily bad, but it's important to be aware about this, because it's very easy that it happens that when you sell what once was your passion, you lose your passion for it, because it is not your passion anymore. It transforms into something else. And for a part of it, this is a swift that a lot of people who work full-time in diving for a longer time will experience this shift from it's so cool to get up every morning and go diving to another day with an open water course. And you still like to do open water courses, you know, but you don't like to do this every day anymore. It does turn into a very normal standard job in some moment. So there's something we have to preserve for ourselves. Maybe you did realize already that in the way I describe this, you know that every service workers have quite a lot to do with the horse sexual workers, because it's just the extreme part of the service industry is offering sex for money, but we as well offer pleasure for money. So we are not, honestly, we're not so different. It's just another part of pleasure or another way of pleasure that we offer. But we can learn something from sex workers because they usually have strategies. Because, you know, sexuality is something that where a lot of people would say, oh no, but you cannot commercialize this. But it is commercialized pretty much worldwide. But the people who do this on a volunteer level, who choose to do this, we do not talk about those who did not choose to do it. They usually find strategies about what to do and what not to do, and they preserve a part of their sexuality for themselves and their partner, and only offer a certain range of things that's not the full thing. And basically, when we work for a longer time in diving, it is really important to preserve something that is your private passion in diving, to preserve something that you still really want to do underwater and which you don't have to share with clients. For me, for example, this is in a big part, it's technical diving, because I will not go too far into becoming a technical instructor, because I do not want to ruin this part of my private diving experience. This is my joy and my pleasure and what I love to do. But I do not want to be forced to take someone down to 100 meters because I get paid for it. I rather only do this with friends and do this as my private kind of diving. It can be something completely different. It does not have to be tech. Some people just love to take photos. And when you go out with clients, you cannot take photos because you take care for your students and for your for your new divers. So they go in from time to time with a camera, and this is the moment when they have their dive for themselves. But start to think already about something that you want to stay yours and what you don't want to sell, which will always be your diving for fun part of it. Yeah, that's very important. And it is, in fact, I am doing this job for 15 years full time now, and I would not be in this anymore if I would not have managed to find other ways of doing the job than doing it 6 days a week, 11 months a year, 12 hours a day, because this is not unbearable on a long term. Yeah. And then there's like the rest of the little small collateral damage, as I call it, that happen in professional diving when you do it for years and years and years full time. And not all of them have directly have to do with diving. For sure, like diving every day and doing, in some places it means you do like 4 or 5 dives a day, and not only 2 like in La Palma. In some places, it means you have a course with 4 students, and then you train emergency ascents with 4 students. Have fun. I mean, breaking your eardrum is the least of it, but it's on a long term, it's not actually healthy. You can't take care about how you get all your tissues desaturated from time to time. So there are dive instructors who work in the industry for a longer time do more frequently get DCS in some moment, because just, yeah, when you do 500 dives a year, in some moment it will happen to you. And then there's so much around. So you always have to deal with different types of customers, and you are like in different places of the world where this means different things. But being a woman in the industry is not always fun. Being in a place where everyone around you is on holidays while you are working, and they all want to spend some holiday time with you because they just spent this nice day diving with you, and now, hey, let's go out for a beer, everyone. I think like alcoholism is a very, very common disease in diving instructors on the long term. It's like I've seen more people dying from alcohol than from DCS. This is common. Whenever you have like seasonal jobs, and it's like normally you have always a high season somewhere that can last through months. How long can you actually work without having a day off or without getting some holidays? Because it's not like nicely 9 to 3 in the afternoon and then you go out and do something else. And if you want to have 2 days off a week, yeah, then have 2 days off a week. Normally it's not like this. Normally you have like 6 up to 7 days a week, 12 hours a day when it's nice, and it can be even more. So yeah, all not so easy. And then this would be great if you say, hey, I do this for 5 years, and then I just collect the money that I saved in all these years because I didn't spend a lot because I was working so much, and open my own business. But let's break this down to you. Will not happen. Not from working as an employed instructor. You will very likely not get to the point to open your own dive center, because how would you actually get the money to do that if not from another job? Let's have a look on the annual income you can expect, or people can expect. This is a few years old. I think it's from 2019, 19. And yeah, what you can see here is dollars 5 years ago, but it's, you see, it's like not exactly on the higher range of incomes. We are not talking about anything comparable to a basic normal job. We have Europe here in green with like $16,000. So let it be 18,000 euro now or something like this, but it's like under, definitely like the average will still be under 20,000 a year. And this is not exactly what gives you an income to have to really live, or even like don't even think about maintaining a family or something like this. It's like for one person it can work, but yeah, not for bigger responsibilities. The income tends to be higher in places with very much lower costs of living. This is because what we were talking about already, because of the gap between instructors and the other people working there. So you get into the higher income group. And Mexico, Central America is not the very cheapest place of the world. And there is something going on that we will see in one of the next slides about which instructors can make a little bit more. Mexico has a lot of technical diving, and technical instructors actually do twice as much as a normal recreational instructor. Yeah, okay, so a little bit something in between. You see this, that like the planning to have a full career in diving is not something very easy. It's possible, but you see that like all the statistics are against you, and you have to find out how you can separate, how you can be different or make something different than this average to find a way that can work for you. And you can still, like even with this very low salaries, you know that most dive centers in the world, most smaller dive centers in the world, do not make incredible amounts of money. I mean, it looks like a lot of exploitation. Hey, I pay my staff very bad, and then I have like other people working for 150 a month, which is great, and then the owner can make quite some decent money. This can be the case in bigger centers that are like always busy, hopefully all year round. But most centers on the world are like on the smaller side, and are like trying to figure out how they can level in between paying more or less decently, in between like paying all the rent and all the costs around diving, all the insurances, all the additional stuff that comes with the center. So for all those who do not work in diving full time, the position to volunteer around is something that is absolutely appreciated, and the whole industry actually relies on volunteers. We would not survive, or we would be way worse if we would not have people from time to time who come and simply help out a little bit, just like offer an extra hand when you would have no reason to split the group, because you can take 4 divers, 5 divers, 6 divers in a group, but you have one person there who wants to guide a little bit, and you can give him 1 or 2, and he does this extra step with his people. This creates a really, really big value for some divers that a center could not offer, because if you calculate through it, you cannot pay a guide for only guiding one person. You just cannot do this. The money does not come in for this. And like people who are around and want to work, but do not depend on getting work every day. This is something that, for example, Punkfish, my center, works a lot like this. I absolutely love to have people who are happy when I call them, like, can you work the next 2 days? Can you work this week? Can you do this? But who have another job that maintains them, so that they do not rely 100% on getting some work as a dive instructor. And it's like a flexible side option, which gives me the possibility to have a little bit more instructors on some days, but not on other days, and gives us like this possibility to offer a little bit of a better service than what we would be able to do if we had to pay the people that we need on our maximum busy day for the whole month, which we just can't do, honestly. So having spending some time more or less volunteering, which does not have to be for free, but it has to be something like, hey, let's make some kind of exchanges. Or like, let's say I only charge you the days you really need me, but I am around and I get something out of it the other days as well. These are things that actually do help to make things a little bit better if you can live this way. So then if you want to get into it for real and for a longer term, and you really want to live from diving, you have to find a strategy how to get into the higher income group, in between the few people who stay in the centers the whole year round, who have work actually the whole year round, and who have a steady pay the whole year round. Because then with a little bit more experience and with a little bit more things that you can offer, it can come to a livable wage for a single person with no kids, no other responsibilities. In this, dive instructors who have just a very little bit small experience, like less than 5 years, you find that they do not really make money. Why is this? Because you do not get this job, this pays the whole year round job when you just did your ITC. It's like it's very rare that someone has full-time employment directly in a place which is a little bit better paid. Because for sure, I would not directly offer someone a full-time job who I don't know before and who I don't know that will really be able to do the full job, not only teaching courses. The income grows with time. It does not automatically grow. It does not mean, hey, if I just push through long enough, I will make more. No. It's not that automatically you get the better job. You do get it's more the other way around. If you do not make it into the better paid jobs, you will drop out after 2 years latest, because you cannot by no means live from this. In no place of the world you can seriously make a living with 7,000 a year. It just does not work. So you can do this for a while you have the money for your plane back, and you live like on a local level and just get most out of the time, and that do not have to touch your savings for just staying in one place. This can work for a while, but it will not work forever. So you want to come into the higher paying jobs. How do you get these higher paying jobs? You need more than only being an instructor. Technical divers are way better paid, and instructor trainers, who are usually on the higher end of the industry, are usually way better paid. This is not automatically because someone is an instructor trainer. It's only because, when you are the one who owns the center, you are probably the one who does the instructor trainer and who does all this. And with some time, you might be able to get into a level of income that becomes a little bit more decent. This is on a worldwide level. I don't really want to talk too clearly about what I make, but I would be happy if I would reach this. It's like, no, it's not automatically that you get there. Okay, so with the time, you will want to invest in something that gives you the access to the better paid jobs in the industry, and you will want to think about how to be in this industry for a longer time and transforming it in a way that it can be better for everyone. Because it's not only about, hey, I could try to get somewhere where I can make a real lot of money, which is difficult enough. But maybe if we want to survive as a business, there are some things not working very well where we might want to think about which screws we want to turn or how we want to act to make it a little bit better. every time that we have the chance to change something. Because by the end of this, all this speech sounded up to now fucking negative, I know. And the thing is, it has all these negative sides. And I think in all this happy diving, everything is so nice. It is very important that we see this as well. But it is the best job I've ever had. And I'm doing it for 15 years now, full time. And I do not want to do anything else. And I love it. I absolutely, definitely love it. And I still love to be in the water with a Tri-Scuba. And once they understand that it works, and they start to relax, and this moment when from oh, I'm underwater, what I'm doing here, and then it's like, oh, a fish, oh, 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 that's so beautiful, and you are there to observe this change. Or then you take them to do the water course, and they're just falling around and don't know what to do in the beginning, and then 3 days later they are just doing a normal dive with you, and they just got into it and understood how it works, and you are part of this process. These are the moments that we really love and that we really want to have. And being an instructor gives you, when you're younger, it gives you a perfect opportunity to just travel and work while you travel from time. Just make sure you save enough to have a ticket back if you need it, and make some wise choices, which are the centers where you want to work and which are the centers where you rather don't. But you can do this, and it's amazing and it's beautiful. The big difference is, do you end up in a center where you work with nice people in nice conditions, and you like organize your job in a way that still makes you happy? Or do you not have the freedom to do this, and you end up in jobs that really suck? There will always be days that suck. That's normal. That happens in every job that every one of us does. It's unavoidable. But like your general day should be good if you work in this, because if you don't make the money you would make in a shitty job back at home, you rather at least be happy. Like, you can live with less money, that's fine, but then you want to have fun while you're working, and you definitely want to enjoy it. So getting a little bit to how do we get there? How do we get to the point to be able to organize your work in a way that is sustainable and that you can do for a longer term, and where you can get the jobs that pay a little bit more? And this is the point where there is a little bit more than only, oh, I love diving and I love teaching and I want to do all this. There are a little bit harder works that make you more employable. When you are good in organization stuff, in answering emails, in getting like the whole center organized, it is very easy to get to the point that you can land a dive center manager job in some moment, where you do not dive every day anymore. Some of these jobs even mean you do not dive anymore. I would not do this, honestly. I really would not. But yeah, it's a possibility. If it's for some people, it is. But when you're good in this, and you can take over part of the office work, you don't have to be in the water 6 days a week, which is quite an advantage, because in the first year you probably love to dive 6 days a week. In the second year, you don't love this so much anymore. Then the big issue about equipment maintenance, compressor maintenance stuff. If you manage to learn how to service a compressor, you are the best person on the places where diving happens, because these people are highly searched for. And this is so much better paid that you can repair compressors 3 days a week, and the other 4 days you go diving for fun. That works pretty fine. You can do that. But it's another career path than doing the instructor course. But if you have something like this as a plus, like learning how to service compressors, is not a 3 years apprenticeship. It's like you can learn this faster as well. And equipment servicing, like servicing regulators, is something you can actually learn in a 3 days course for MARES, for example. And it's not so complicated. If you have like a little bit of a basic understanding of mechanics, I mean, I can do this, and I studied social sciences. I really don't know very much. My hands are a little bit useless in this world, but yeah, for sure I can service a fucking regulator. It's not that complicated. Yeah, it's like some basic parts, and once you understood it, it's easy enough. But if you can do this, you have a very interesting added value for a dive center, because if in low season there are no divers, you can just service the whole regulators, and that's fine. That's perfect. That's something that's absolutely highly needed. And you can be the person who, like in high season, is able to just fix the 3 regulators that are free flowing that you actually need right now. And this is absolutely highly appreciated. Social media is a little bit of, yeah, social media is cool, but not everyone who calls themselves a social media specialist and influencer is one. So even this as well, you need to have something on a higher level than the average person, and really do this right, and do this well, and do this good, and stick to it. And it takes a while until it becomes really good, and it's work. It's not like I make 2 pictures every day and post it on Instagram. That does not do the job. Simon knows exactly what I'm talking about, because he's just doing it. It's work. It's real work. It's real hard work if you want to do this well. Or what else do you have? What distinguishes you from other instructors? A bunch of languages is always a plus as well. Huh? It's like only English is the worst that can happen to you. English and German is already quite good. English, German, Spanish, you will have a job on Canary Islands whenever you want. And if you speak even more languages, well, here you go. Languages sell. But they just make you employable. They don't make your job so much better. So it's the harder skills, the better skills that bring you into this position to do. To make some more money, to make some more consistent money, to stay in a place as long as you want to stay, and not move around from job to job every half year. What makes the job more enjoyable for you as well? Just a very short glance on what SSI offers, because by the end of the day, this is still an instructor course and not an anti-instructor course. I want you to become instructors, and really happy instructors, but I want to give you some hints to how to do this in a way that I will still see you in the business in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years. And some of the instructors I did teach, I hope will finally take over my center when I don't want to do it anymore. So yeah, I'm interested in keeping you in the business. So you should enter with open eyes. When in the beginning, it's very exciting to do open water courses, and open water courses are still the best, because you do the foundations of everything the person does later, and I still love it. But no one wants to only teach open water courses, because whatever you do exclusively every day in a row will get boring. So the way to make your job more interesting is getting more specialties in, and getting a profile. Define what are the things that you really love. Not every diver is the same, and not every instructor is the same. For example, I absolutely hate freediving. But if an instructor is into freediving and likes to do this, it's so perfect to have one in the center who does some freediving as well, and offers this to some people, because it gives a completely different perspective. I'm more into I do the decompression and deep and intro to tech things, because this is what I love to do, and where I can give like some extra value and can give something more than only the standard information. And people do it who are already like, who want to become better, or who want to learn something, which is like quite exciting and quite nice. So other people love this biology thing. I'm useless for this. I don't teach ecology specialties because I can't. It's absolutely not my favorite. I love fishes, but I can't remember their names. Doesn't matter. I know Paul and Peter, but that's about it. But if this is your special interest, make your special interest something unique for you as an instructor, and specialize in what you like most, so you get a bigger variety of what you can teach, and you will have a little bit of a more interesting job for you and a better profile for being employable, because for sure we need people who can teach different stuff. We did talk about this technical knowledge already. I did forget the gas blending stuff, which is quite useful to have and to be able to do as well, like everything around compressors, and not like shying away when someone wants a little bit of nitrox, so you just have to open a little bit of an oxygen tank. Just makes life nicer as well. And just from time to time, hanging around in the dive center filling tanks instead of diving can be nice as well if you dive too much already. And then the very next big challenge, but this is already like Nick will transform already to assistant instructor trainer, because this is the next nice things to do. You teach the people who come after you. And for me, like directly after teaching, I love teaching water divers, but I enjoy even more to teach new instructors. Because this is like when then I see how you treat your open water divers and how you teach them and how they transform into really good divers because I showed you how to teach it. Then this is something that's really, really beautiful to see as well. That like this makes me still genuinely happy in my job, and I'm really proud about those who did the instructor course with me already. They are all pretty fucking awesome. And I mean, they all were really good when they came as well. You know, it's like I think I attract kind of nice people. So it's not only me, because it's like you are a person and you develop and you decide what to copy from me and what not, and what you add from your part. And the outcome can be very different. I have like a bunch of very different instructors hanging around at Punkfish, with quite different profiles, but they are all in their way really, really good. And this is for me like really, I love to see this. And this is a way as well, because like once you start, try to get your first dive master courses and teach dive masters pretty soon after finishing your ITC if you can, because it is like this part of teaching is rewarding in another level, and you will find out if you like that, and come back when you gain some experience with the beginners for the assistant instructor trainer course. Yeah, and then you decide about which part of diving you reserve for yourself. We did talk about this, but yeah, for me, it's the rebreather thing, but it can be basically everything different. Just make sure you find something that you can use this way. So, in everything that has to do with business and sales and selling the better course packages, SSI is absolutely helpful. You have in your training material this sales guide. You have a thing called Scuba University, where they do like constant webinars about exactly all this and how to use the SSI system to boost your sales, to become a little bit better, to get like a little bit a better marketing done, to get the people better engaged in the next courses. And we will talk about details and about ideas about this a lot through the course. And there is this Business of Diving website, which is very well worth a look as well. So This is the part where you do find enough, and we will do some very practical workshop around it live on La Palma. But I wanted to have done this part now to give you a little bit of an idea about what you can expect once you finished your course.